This is the It's My Time podcast with Asher Chua.
Well, let me introduce myself. I'm Asher. I thought to just reach out to you to meet somebody else that's heavily involved with the Panda Planner like yourself, and to just see how it is you got interested in it, why you found value in it, and kind of more about yourself, who you are as a person.
Okay. I'm sorry, I've never done anything like this, so I'm
Oh,
like,
you're fine. We're just having a conversation. I mainly wanted to just um, meet you and other people that have used the Panda Planner because in doing this podcasting thing, I started it last year or the year before last, and my whole point to doing the podcast was just having conversations with everyday people I've either worked with, people I'm just meeting for the first time like yourself, and just seeing what your life is like, what are the things you enjoy, what are the things you take pride in, things like that. And
okay,
the
that's pretty cool.
yeah, it's been fun. And
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. All right. Well, I found the planner like 3 years ago. Maybe going on 4 now. But I really, like I had told you, I go through so many planners. I can never find one that just had everything I needed and could adjust to me, to what I wanted. I don't know how I found it. I really don't remember. It might have been Facebook or some link that popped up, but what I really liked was, because I read about the maker of it, the founder, Michael Leap, I think is how you pronounce it. And he had Lyme disease, and that was among other things, that was one of the things that kind of led him to making the planner. And I also have dealt with it and have long-term effects from it. And I thought, wow, if it helped him and he created it knowing what you need, then maybe it'll help. And
Right.
I have not looked back. It's amazing. I get so much more done now in a day than I ever have.
Awesome.
It's pretty weird.
So I guess when you heard his story, I guess, was it just that much more compelling to you because it was something that you were dealing with yourself?
Yeah, because it's my memory and other brain things have been issues with having the Lyme. So I have to write everything down. I can't, I mean, our appointment, I wrote down like 12 different places, especially because I'm not, I grew up in New Jersey. So even though I've lived here in Arkansas for 3 years, the time difference still messes me up because
Gotcha.
everybody I talk to is from New Jersey or, somewhere on the East Coast. So, even with that, I always have to remind myself, that it's 10 o'clock here and it's 11 for you. So, but yeah, things like that. And there's space in the Panda, you can write everything down. So there's no excuse to forget something anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, one of the experiences I had in the past, like I started about the same time. A friend introduced it to me as a good tool to just bring things together. And I liked how it was structured with starting the day with gratitude and being able to write out affirmations, daily affirmations, have a daily focus, which is one thing you can focus on for a whole month. And like, of course, being able to have a planner that's either task oriented or just writing down what you're going to do by the hour. I found that very, very helpful at the time because I was trying to balance a lot of things with work. But then after a while, I guess I either got tired of it or I it kind of started to lose like that initial excitement. Is that something you had to deal with over the years?
Um, yes and no. I do get bored easily with the same monotonous thing over and over.
Mhm.
But what I did to kind of get over that, I mean, because they have so many, they have the classic, the weekly, the pro, different sizes, different layouts, and
Mhm.
to be honest, I bought them all because sometimes I wanted to do something different, and I mean, I wasn't constantly back and forth, but with the fact that a lot of them are undated.
Mhm.
So I could use one for 2 months, and then I could switch. And for me, the weekly I think was the best because I really need that overview.
Mhm.
Um, but also, too, another thing is that you could dress it up, with if you're a highlighter person or different color pens or stickers or and you don't have to do it every day or every week. I mean, sometimes I was in the mood, and I had the time and I mess around with it and make it look all pretty and, try to be all positive. But then other weeks it was just like black pens, scratched all over the place,
Right.
and so there's a lot of ways to kind of make it adjust and, just help you every week, to kind of conform to whatever you're feeling. So,
Gotcha.
you
That
know,
that's a great point. Because that's kind of where I got into. I think I went at it pretty strong, and I got the standard small notebook.
mhm.
Oh, I thought I had it right next to me, but um, I was just writing in black pen, and after a while, it did get dull. But once I put it down and came back to it later, I never switched the planners, which I think, like you said, that'd probably be a great idea. But then I started using colors and sticky notes and things and try to like liven it up a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
because it's like whatever you do, even if it's like creating a good habit, it can get mundane after a while unless you find a way to switch it up. So
Yeah.
how is it, I guess, from the time you discovered it to getting more involved, how has this changed your life or improved your life?
Oh, I can't even tell you. It's I just get so many things done, and the fact that you have the wins section at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Um, when I plan my day, I I look forward to that. To writing out like what did I do today? What did I achieve?
Mhm.
So it actually almost pushes me to do things that maybe I would have put off. And I'm a pretty big procrastinator. So, phone calls and things that kind of just take up a lot of time. And I'm like, I don't, I don't have to do it today. I could do it tomorrow. But the fact that I want to check that off and I want to feel that accomplishment, it pushes me to do it. And it's not overnight and it's not every day. I mean, some days, something might come up with work or,
Right.
whatever. And that I think is very important because a lot of people feel like they're failing at it
Mhm. Right.
if they're not filling it out or they're not checking off their things. And there's always tomorrow, you don't have to do everything today,
Right.
and that's another thing it taught me was how to efficiently plan because I would write out a list
Mhm.
every day and every day I would check off maybe two things out of 20, and then rewrite the next 18 the next day. And why? Like, write down what you can do
Right.
and you'll feel like you accomplished it, because
Right. Right.
if you're writing down three things and you're doing them all, that's a win,
Mhm.
And if it's not, if you don't finish them, it's okay, you
Yeah.
know. A lot of people get down on themselves about that, I've noticed, and they don't have to because it's not like that.
Right.
We have time
Right. That's a
usually.
great point that you make because I guess again to that same point, um, my story aligns exactly with that because I got so into the habit of doing it every day that when I stopped doing it, I was like, ooh, like I missed a day, but it's and then when I kind of got over that, it was like, okay, I missed a day or like the things went, but then um sometimes I would just open up the planner, like you said, just to fill in the win column, just to say, like, hey, here's what I learned today, and then maybe here's something I can do different for tomorrow. So that like um I would have something to look at and have something to just be appreciative of or just be grateful for. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's very important to not beat yourself up. It's,
yeah,
especially, I mean, I see how it's a little more difficult if you have the dated one, because
mhm,
there it is staring you in the face, that you didn't do it. But
right,
a lot of things, like I think it was the classic or the pro that I had. And if I would miss a day, I would actually go back and use that as like a journal day instead and
mhm,
fill in all the boxes of what did I do today,
right,
or or maybe I did nothing and I was lazy, and that's okay too, we
right,
can be lazy, we're allowed, you know.
right.
So,
The
but
go ahead.
no, no, no. It's just it's just great. It's the happiness level has increased, and I've I've had major depression my whole life, and to be
Mm,
honest, this was one of the things that really helped pull me out of it because um positive thinking, it's not a bunch of like new age fluff. I mean, it's
right.
actually scientifically proven it does work, and it doesn't mean like we're not all going to be positive 100% of the time,
Mm,
but learning to find good things and look on the bright side, it really makes a huge difference in somebody's life.
right.
So,
I,
it helps with that, I think.
yeah, I agree because to your point, not beating yourself up, it definitely helps to have that positive thinking, but also the positive action of writing it down and being able to reinforce it. And it's like you can quickly um, defeat yourself by um, kind of downplaying what it is that you've done so far. I guess from your from your ability to think positively, like what activities have you started to pursue more so in your life, or have you set out any new goals this year?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's it really helps with the planning of the goals. I mean, for sure, because
Yeah.
I used to kind of just have goals,
Mhm.
at some point in the future, I was going to do these things. And now I bought the business one, the venture,
Mhm.
and that helps with it's the 3 month for the business. And I bought that, planned out some business goals of,
Mhm.
I want to make this amount of money. I want to do these things, and I don't really have too much control in my line of work because I mean I get what I get as far as work
Mhm.
goes, but but it's nice to kind of put that down on paper and say like this is what I want,
Right.
Um, I study metaphysics, so I plan, this is the day I want to finish this degree, and I tried last year, it didn't work, but
Uh,
but I don't think
yeah.
last year worked for a lot of people, so I don't
Right.
feel so
Right.
bad,
Got you.
you know. But yeah, it's gosh, I've come up with goals I didn't even know I wanted, just
Mm,
just to have something to look forward to and accomplish,
got you. How'd you come up with metaphysics? Is that something you've been looking at for a while, or
Yeah, I've I've always been on the more spiritual side of things.
Mhm.
And I found I was kind of just lost. to be honest. I just was, aimlessly bounding through life and, one thing to the next. And um, like I said, the depression was very, I was only getting out of bed because other people needed something,
Right.
it wasn't even for me at that point. But right around the time that I found the Panda Planner,
Mhm.
I also found the University of Metaphysical Sciences in California.
Mm.
And I thought, I could do that, and finish that. And, hopefully that's the aspiring spiritual life coach that I think I
Yeah.
mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where I'm headed with that. But
Gotcha.
um, and that's why I buy the yearly planner,
Mhm.
because I can't do 3 months or 1 month or 6 months, maybe, because they do have some 6 month ones, but I need like the year where I can just plan everything because,
Mm.
I look very far into the future, which
Right.
I don't know if that's a good thing, but I try, so I can
Yeah.
plan everything out. So,
That,
but it helps keep you on track with that because there's a lot of classes. And then on top of work,
yeah.
there's a lot of things to do.
Right.
It's,
Right. So, I mean,
uh,
would you, so I guess, and we don't have to, I guess, reference the planner so much. I know that that was like the start of the conversation, but um kind of in that case where you're looking at your whole year and making the effort to plan it out with um trying to pursue this degree, getting the certification to become licensed so that you can pursue that as a profession, and looking at your current job and what you're trying to do there. Did you find it? Did you have like how was your time in navigating um, not only the year as you planned it, but I guess what turned out to be the year of 2020 as many people came to know it?
oof. Um, I'm sorry. Can you ask me that one more time?
Yeah, yeah. I guess I know that even when I was saying it, I was like, man, that sounds like
No, no.
a
My
long
brain just
question.
it doesn't
So
follow
so
sometimes.
it's like in your attempt to plan out your whole year versus just a few months at a time, um,
Mhm.
what were some of the benefits that you found along the way despite the challenges of 2020?
Okay. Well, with how crappy the year was, it was nice to have things that I could still manage to accomplish. So
Mm.
planning out, I'm very lucky and very grateful that most of the things I do are within the confines of my home.
Mhm.
So I wasn't as negatively affected as a lot of people, which, really helps. I mean, I actually ended up doing more things than I probably would have done otherwise because what is there to do but read and, drink wine and, so it did, in a way, it kind of helped
Mhm.
in that sense. Also, too, because it kind of makes you realize what you are grateful for. Because
Mm.
I'm pretty grateful to restaurants, I've learned,
Yeah.
and when they're not there, it's pretty sad, My husband's a chef, so
Mhm.
he was pretty he was affected. I mean, but it really helps to just have things to still look forward to, even with how crappy everything was.
Right.
I was still accomplishing things, even if it was taking longer than I wanted it to. But, it's
Mhm.
nice to check things off and say, I did this, you
Right.
know.
That's a great point. And I guess, um, how did I say, grateful we're here having this conversation. The
Oh, yeah.
I know for on my end, in starting the podcast towards the end of 2019, going into 2020, things kind of picked up very quickly, and before I knew it, it was like trying to manage if I was going to be able to put out an episode weekly to um, starting a new job to then having to work from home and then having things kind of shut down. And then what I did as the opposite of what you're saying was go from counting things to do little by little to kind of pulling back and not trying to do anything at all. And I was just like, well, everything seems to be going crazy, so I'm just going to fall back and watch things play out. But thankfully being able to communicate with family and friends and being encouraged to do an activity here and there, I can look back and say, well, it wasn't a complete waste because now I'm here again recording in 2021, the first episode of the new year. And that I think that's huge. And I'm very grateful that you said yes to this interview. And
Yes, well, I'm grateful that you asked.
yeah. And just to that point, I guess it helps to like it helps to try to do something because it's like if you don't if you if you take away your um your ability or like your drive, if you kind of sit in depression, because I know that's something you mentioned, and that's something that I kind of I went through, and also it's something a lot of people deal with, especially now where the things
Yeah,
you want to do, they're not available to you. So it's like you can dwell on them, or you can stop looking for something else to do as an alternative, and that really you don't notice it at first, but it quickly gnaws at you. And sometimes you might just be counting the days or counting the minutes, and then days turn into weeks and months. But like, of course, being able to find something like this tool to eventually meet someone like yourself and just see that um, thinking in alignment, thinking, having similar experiences, and then seeing what comes as a result of that by taking action and also seeking out other people that are looking for better results and also working towards something a goal that they have out there. And then
yeah,
being able to write it down, I think it just brings it a little bit closer, and it makes it maybe a little bit less daunting.
yeah, yeah. I think so. It's nice to see what you want to do. Like you said, in writing, because once you've written it down, that's the hardest part is making the decision to do it. So
Yeah.
you know, and it's I don't think anybody should let anything get in the way of what they want to do, what they want to do, not what other people want them to do. But,
Mm.
if they have a goal in mind, one thing I've learned is you don't have to live the life you're living. You can live any life you want. It's I'm trying to think how to really put it.
Well, what's the way that you've done it for yourself?
Well, I in my first marriage,
Mm.
it was not good. um, and at the time, while I was in it for 6 years, 7 years, give or take,
Mm.
I thought this is it. This is my life. I'm married. Um, it's not good. It's abusive.
Mm.
But that's it. I mean, I didn't. I couldn't think of another life other than the one I was in. And one morning I woke up. I literally just woke up and said, "This doesn't have to be my life anymore." It doesn't have to be. I don't want this, I'm rejecting this.
Right.
And then we got divorced and I moved on,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, my dogs are freaking out.
No, you're fine.
But so it's not an easy road, for whatever it is. But I think a lot of times we get stuck in our comfort zone, even if it's not a good situation. We just get stuck there and we don't really see the way out. And I think it's important to think, if I read a quote somewhere recently and it was, if nobody else's opinion mattered, what would you do? Because I think a lot of times we're very concerned with, in the case of a marriage, it's, well, what are people going to think if I get divorced? Maybe, these families are against divorce, there's always a reason, and it always comes down to somebody else and their opinion of it. And
Right.
if it didn't matter, what would you do? That's kind of how I look at it. I mean, of course I take into consideration, opinions of my husband now, and, but, if I want to do something that I think is going to better my life, my happiness, our life, together, I'm going to do it. There's not much that's going to stop me,
Yeah.
So I think it's important for people to get out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And just do what they want, what makes them happy.
Well said. I think I like how you pointed out that you're like, in order for you to like move away from a bad marriage to get into like one, getting out of the situation, and then getting yourself in a better situation, at least better than it was. It's like you have to, I think, consider your own opinion, think about what it is that's going to work best for you. And now once you figured out what worked best for you, then you could include somebody else, and then you could work on what's best for the both of you. But all the while, you're not neglecting yourself, and you're not ignoring you're in the situation, you're having to deal with the decision and the outcomes of the decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. Because and it's tough. It's tough. I've seen it firsthand, from people that are very, very close to me that I love, that are in very, very bad situations. And I see them stuck because that's what they're used to. They might be used to struggling, or they're used to bouncing from house to house, or they're used to, and it hurts me because I want to help,
Right.
But at the same time, sometimes people just have to learn for themselves, and they do, they will, and that's fine. Everybody learns. It took me, years to come to the conclusion, so, it's, and I'm not by any means, the smartest person. So, I don't pretend to be. I'm not, but I just hope that, one day I can help people to, find what makes them happy and move forward from there. Because I think happiness is, it's pretty important.
What was it? Was it? Is it more difficult for you to not help somebody that you see going through those types of situations? Or maybe I should ask it a different way. Um, was there a time when you would rush to always help somebody that you'd see kind of struggling or in a bad mood, and now you've kind of moved away from that? And if there was, like, what was that transition like?
It was tough. As growing up and early 20s, there was a lot of people will come and ask me for help, friends and family. And I was always there, right on board, trying to help them. And I couldn't even help myself at that point, but I was trying to help them, um, and I got older and I would then kind of I would try to help them, even if they didn't ask, because I might see like something that I thought would help. But I learned that, if they're not ready, there's no point, you know. So it's probably actually only in the last few years that I've sort of stepped back and said, if you want help, I'm here, come to me. But it's
If you don't ask, I'm not
pretty
jumping in
much,
after you.
yeah. It's my one friend, I offered her to come and live with me rent free with a job offer, with my husband was going to get her a job, and she has kids. I told her bring the kids, everything. And she didn't do it. And I was shocked because I thought, this is your way out. This is what you've been, you know. Um, but now, I came to understand like it's what she's used to, and she's just not ready to move forward yet.
Right.
And that's fine. Like I said, everybody moves at a different pace and we all have our lessons to learn. And there's some lesson that the universe hasn't taught her yet,
Yeah.
that she's in the process of. So, that's fine. But I'm here. If anybody needs me, I'm here. Even people I don't like, I'm still here. I'm here for
That's
them.
big.
I try
Yeah.
to. I think it goes hand in hand with the positivity. Is you have to. I want to work to be a good person. I haven't always been. There's things that I've done that are not, that were not good. I mean, nothing, huge, but
Yeah.
there's things we've all done things that
Right.
maybe we're not
Right.
proud of, and but I strive every day to try to be, a good person. So, you
So
know,
I guess what was the thing, or do you remember the event or moment that kind of led you to start taking care of yourself first? I guess a lot of people have the analogy to like put the mask on your face first if you're on the airplane.
yeah, yeah. I do know when it really hit me was I was on a lot of medications for depression.
Mhm.
Um, I think at one point I was up to like 4 of them at one time, and this was right around the time I decided that I needed to be divorced, and
Mhm.
because I told myself this isn't what I want. I can't. I couldn't do anything at that point. I
Mhm.
couldn't work. I couldn't. I was just like a zombie, just going through life. And I asked my doctor. I said, I want to get off these, and I weaned myself off really, really slow.
Mhm.
And it took probably about 2 months to get completely off of them. And I don't know how much longer for them to get out of the system, but once they were, it was like I just had like an awakening of, this is me. This is who I am. I'm not that person who's been on, antidepressants for 15 years,
Yeah.
Um, and I have nothing against medication. There are people that need it and they,
Right.
should be on it and they should take it and they should listen to their doctors. But
Mhm.
for me, I think it was more um, environment rather than anything else. And I think once I changed the environment
Yeah.
and I started doing things for myself, that, the medications, I didn't need them anymore.
Gotcha.
So, I think that was a really huge moment where I just sort of, I came into my own, if you will, as they
Right.
say.
I guess, I'm curious, did you start doing anything for yourself before you asked your doctor, like, hey, I want to get off of these medications? Or was it so bad at that point to where you noticed you weren't taking care of yourself that prompted the question?
I think it was more that, yeah, because I just sort of listened to everybody else, and I couldn't make I was at a point that I couldn't make a decision for myself. I
Okay.
couldn't, I couldn't just make a sandwich if I wanted
Right.
to. I mean, I literally had to call people, like, well, my husband, at the
Yeah.
time, and it was, can I do this? Like, can I, you know, and to be honest, to this day, sometimes I still kind of revert back a little bit, but then, like, especially with purchases, because money was a very, very big issue. Um,
Mm,
and I was forbidden from buying anything that I wanted. If it
mm,
wasn't paying bills, I couldn't spend the money.
right.
So even now, if I put something in my cart on Amazon and I'll kind of stare at it for a week, I'll be
Mm,
like, should I do it? Should I ask somebody? Should I, but
right.
then I do it, and I feel good about it,
That's
you
good.
know, even if it's useless, which it usually is, but
Yeah. But then you can return it.
exactly, you know,
Awesome.
so
So so
yeah.
no, so I guess now present day, what is it that you do?
Well, like work wise.
Yes, or just work wise, and also I guess what is it that you enjoy doing hobby wise?
Well, work wise, I I'm a legal transcriptionist, so I type like court hearings and trials and things.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Are you the person off to the side writing down everything that's said?
no, actually, I'm entirely home based, so
Okay,
I have it's I have somebody that sends me the work,
gotcha.
and then I type them up, and it's pretty great. I've done that probably about 10 years now, I think.
Mhm.
Um, and it's kind of the best job ever. So it can be a little negative because there's never been a positive court hearing, I don't think.
Right, right.
So
You probably
but
just get the juicy stories.
yeah, there's some juicy stuff. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But outside of that, pretty much I like to write and read. I do the studying.
Mhm.
I have 4 dogs that are rambunctious, and you know they get into some things, so they take up a lot of time.
Yeah,
But they're great. They're my babies. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We like to travel,
nice.
gamble, quite frankly.
Yeah,
But there hasn't been much of that for obvious reasons. But we're hopeful that this year might maybe be a little different.
yeah,
Um, that would be nice. So
gotcha.
we'll see. You know,
What's what's one of your favorite vacation spots, or one of your fondest memories from a place you visited?
oh, it's so funny you asked that because we were just talking about this like 2 nights ago.
Mhm.
Um, the first vacation we ever took, and it was the first vacation I ever had
Yeah.
in my life, like as an adult, was Chincoteague Island in Virginia.
Okay.
Um, it was amazing. It
Mm.
was. I learned how to crab. I've never crabbed before. Um, we fished. I
Mhm.
went to the ocean. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
We did a boat tour, and it was kind of a whole new world for me because I'd hardly been out of New Jersey. So
Mm.
you know, and now we live in Arkansas. I mean, I don't know how that happened, but it happened, you
Yeah.
know. So,
But you got out there on the water and had some new
oh yeah,
experiences.
yeah. We took a fishing tour, which we didn't catch anything, but you know, it was nice. And then we did a sunset cruise, which was,
Mhm.
you know, all that romantic stuff, you know. Um, yeah, it was great. It was a bad first day because we got a flat tire like 2 blocks from the house when we were leaving. That wasn't good. And then I sliced my toe open on a shell when we got
Ooh.
there. But once all that was in the past, you know,
Yeah.
then it was good from there, you know.
Nice.
But we actually have a history of the first day is never good on
Mhm.
vacations. I don't know why. It's just never good. Something always goes wrong.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was great though. You know, but now we mostly go to Tunica because it's about an hour and a half. They got casinos and
Mm.
you know,
You said
so
it's called Tunica?
yeah, Tunica, Mississippi.
Okay.
And yeah, it's like their I guess their gambling town. You know, they have quite a few casinos. We
Mhm.
only really go to one, but they have quite a few.
Got you.
So you know,
Yeah.
that's a really great place.
Nice.
It's not Atlantic City, but you
Mhm.
know, it's a good
It
place.
is Atlantic City, is that near Virginia, or it's on the East Coast, right?
It is. It's in New Jersey. I'm not good at geography. I don't know if it's
Okay.
actually close to Virginia, but I know
Got you.
it's like right at the
But
bottom of
it's okay.
New Jersey. Yeah,
Got you. Okay. Because
yeah. And
I've just heard of it in the past, and I'm always kind of wondering the same thing. I'm like, is it like where is that? I'm like, it's over there somewhere, but like unless you look at a map and you're like, oh, that's not as far as I thought it was, or it might be
yeah,
close by.
yeah. It's I can't remember. I think it's Camden County or no, Atlantic County. Duh. Yeah, I
Okay.
think Atlantic County.
Okay. Got you.
I don't know.
And it,
Somebody will correct me because I think I'm wrong.
but I guess is that anything like Vegas? I know the big thing with Vegas, and I don't know if it's supposed to be like the same attraction with a lot of gambling places, but like the the presentation, if you will, of how they
The bright
show it.
lights and
Yeah.
the yeah, Atlantic City is I mean, I've never been to Vegas, but I would say Atlantic City is maybe a scaled back version from what I only because it's I don't think it's that big. But I mean, you're coming across that bridge and you're seeing those lights and those, you know, it's
Gotcha.
pretty exciting.
Yeah.
When you go to Tunica, there's none of that because we live in the South now, and it's kind of just here we are, you know, this
Hmm.
building. Um, yeah, there's not a whole lot of excitement, or I mean, there is once you go in, but on the
Right.
outside, it's not too exciting, you know.
Gotcha.
Um,
I guess what are some of your go-to games?
oh, I'm definitely the slots.
Slots.
Um, always the slots. I can't. My husband's roulette. He tries to get me into it.
Hmm.
I mean, I get it. I'll play it, you know, but we kind of have a thing like we get there, we have dinner, and we
Hmm.
go our separate ways. You
Gotcha.
know, I don't want him at the slots. He doesn't want me at the table. We're bad luck for each other, you know.
Yeah.
So I'll be winning, and then he'll walk over, and I lose it all, you know.
Mm,
So
gotcha.
you know, but yeah, pretty much Wheel of Fortune slots to be exact. Because
Nice.
I sat down at one of them in AC to wait for my husband to get out of the bathroom, and I put $10 in and I won $1,000. So you
Oh
know,
wow.
yeah. So that's kind of been my go-to now.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I won't keep you too much longer, but I really appreciate this call and just also the conversation to be able to chat with you, get to know you as a person, and hopefully we can do it again.
Yeah, it's been really nice meeting you and talking to you,
Yeah.
And yeah, I've never I'm gonna check out your podcast. I'm sorry. I never heard of it.
No, it's fine.
I've never actually listened to podcasts, to be honest, but people have been telling me, like, listen to this person, listen to this person.
Right. Well, I mean,
So
there's so many out there, and I guess it's like just a variety, and um like every single one's different. I mean, of course you have like different genres and things like that, but it's it's been fun. And I just put out an episode yesterday with somebody else that I met similar to you, like through another group that I'm a part of. And there the group, it's similar, I guess, to what the Panda group may be, because I
mhm.
haven't gotten involved just yet. I just jumped in and introduced myself. And that group, it focuses on people setting goals and having other people hold them accountable to it. So um
Oh, okay.
she'd posted something in the group that got my attention, and I think I maybe commented on it, and I was like, hey, do you have a minute to chat? And we talked about how she got into insurance, and how she started from like working in her kitchen to having two offices, and what it is that kind of motivates her behind that. And the thing that we ended on was that gratitude is everything, because like
Yeah.
no matter what you do, it's like if what happened to her would have never happened, I might have never had that conversation with her. So I guess
Yeah.
everything's got to be put into perspective.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, gratitude is definitely a game changer.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
cool.
Yeah. Well, I really, really, really appreciate it. Here
Anytime.
I was thinking I'm not interesting at all, but.
Hey, you surprise yourself, and that's the whole reason why I started this, because it's like from the people that I've worked with to the people that I either went to school with, people that I'm meeting. um Everybody has an interesting story, and it's like a lot of our stories kind of overlap.
Yeah.
And I think I was just telling my mom yesterday that if you, even in like hearing the stories about like the millionaires or the people that are like on a screen or whatnot, we hear about like the highlights, you hear about how great it is, but sometimes it's like a lot of people don't get into the details, or they don't actually have a conversation with you to where you can actually listen in and kind of hear. It's like, oh, okay, like that person's just like me, they're going through stuff just like me, like if they did that, I can do that too. Or
Yeah.
my situation's not so bad because other people have dealt with it. And I think that's something great that people need. And I kind of feel bad for having the gaps in last year, but I think is it was everything comes in its time, and the
Yeah.
important things that we're back now.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think you'll do great this year. Stay
Thank you.
positive.
I will, and I'll keep in touch.
Yeah, please do. I'll be here.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.